I said it before and I'll say it again.
That scene, that last scene.
What does it mean?
I'm the dude, you know?
Get the fuck out of here. No, I cannot. That final scene starts now.
Hello. Sorry, I can't stop laughing because every time Simon asks, "Are you gonna clock it?"
Yeah.
it just gets to me.
A peek behind the magician's cloth. Yeah, we record this and then we also time it on my phone to make sure we're not boring you too much by recording for too long.
It's true. Got to keep an eye on these things.
We certainly do.
Because you remember back in the day, what probably a year ago,
yeah.
we used to go way overboard.
Yeah,
or maybe the first year of us podcasting.
Yeah, we did like a couple of 90-minuters, which was just too long. We're not Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
It's true.
Well, I want to quickly start with a mini correction on the back of the previous because we got called out. Maybe I was called out.
Did
I don't know. Probably I made the mistake. So I want to thank Casey for correcting us for Russell Crowe's Oscar streak, because I think I may have mentioned that Russell Crowe won for both Gladiator and A Beautiful Mind,
but it was just one,
and that's just wrong. In fact, Russell won for Gladiator, but he was just nominated for A Beautiful Mind.
Okay.
I thought you had a double streak, so I apologize. Take it back.
Yeah. Sorry, Russell. Sorry you didn't win twice. If you are listening. Who knows? Maybe he'll win for Craven the Hunter.
Oh my God. He's actually in that film.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like Aaron Taylor Johnson's dad in it, I think. He's going to be doing some rogue kind of Russian accent. It's going to be great. It's going to be like when he sang in Les Mis. It's going to be absolutely outrageous.
Is that his era now? He's just playing the dad
I think
of
he's just doing what he
superheroes.
wants. Yeah, he's just, his zaddy era of like playing everybody's daddy in movies.
I would just love to see him in a great film again.
I'm sure he will. He'll have something in the pipeline eventually.
So. It's been a while. It's been since Nice Guys.
I mean, I'd say he's glad he kept clear of the turd that's Gladiator 2. And I'm only saying that because I know Sophie's gonna clap back at that because she liked Gladiator, but I didn't.
Listen.
Wait, have you seen it as well, Sophie?
Yeah. No. Like
I thought on the group chat, I thought we said that Ben had taken the bullet, so we don't have to.
Yeah.
I was so excited for it. I couldn't not watch it. But I'm gonna say, I'm gonna go on record and say it's okay if you hated that film because it's a dumb, silly, ridiculous film. But I think where I disagree with some people is that I actually had a really good time. I think it's just a case of if you try to over intellectualize it and overthinking compared to the original, you're gonna have a horrible time. And I just said, murder monkeys, let's fucking go. Sharks in the Colosseum, Denzel doing whatever he's doing.
So stupid.
It's basically
what's the sharks thing?
So they have like a sea battle in the Colosseum. So they flood the Colosseum and they're on boats. And there's sharks in it as well.
Absolutely
it's so fucking stupid.
Amazing.
But did you not think it was so rushed? For a movie that's over 2 hours long, they rush. Like the first hour, they rush through so much of like who Paul Mescal is, what his character is, who Denzel Washington's character is. Okay, everyone go. Action. Like... I genuinely, and do you know what? It goes so fast paced. I felt bad for the actors in the first 20 minutes because Pedro Pascal in his first scene looks like he doesn't know his lines. That's how worried he looks. Of like, holy shit, are we actually doing this?
Yeah. Oh my God. The first half hour is just I didn't.
It's
enjoy
so
it.
rushed.
The first half hour, I was like, oh my God, they're just trying to emulate the first one by creating like a tragic backstory that's not quite there.
Yeah, it doesn't make you feel bad for him.
It doesn't make you feel...
You know the way you really root for Maximus in the first movie? Because they do a really good job over, like, bearing in mind, like, over an hour of the first Gladiator film is essentially them just building him up. And, like, the first half hour is, like, the battle in Germany and, like, Marcus Aurelius.
Even with that, I have to say that there is, like, some sort of emotional manipulation in the first one. Because the reason you feel so bad is because... the wife was cooking and like doing folding the clothes, and the kid was just playing in the wild, and then they got murdered. Like I think there's just a lot of emotional.
But they give you more time to get to know at least Russell Crowe's character.
Yeah,
in essentially, basically the movie starts and Paul Mescal's fondling some dirt, which is clearly be like, he's doing what Maximus used to do. He's like fondling some fucking bird seed.
Has he got a little
and
bag
then,
of little...
guess what? It's about 30 seconds. Oh, also, there's this bizarre opening credit sequence, which is basically an animated, like painting animated retelling of the first movie, as if somebody basically put it into AI and said, I want you to condense Gladiator into 30 seconds and make it look like I've shot this on a fucking iPhone and use like a weird filter that makes it look like a painting. It's mental. And then Paul Mescal starts, puts his hand in some dirt, blah, blah, blah. 30 seconds later, oh no! A battle is happening and then his wife is dead. It is like being slapped in the face with the script and being like, okay, here you go. Deal with it. Go for it.
Yeah.
It's like, it's so fast. I was like, from the minute one, I was like, I'm not on board with this.
Yeah, no.
And I wanted to be so badly.
I don't think you wanted to be. Like, I think you, like,
I
your
did. I genuinely
expectation
know.
was that you weren't gonna like it.
I was worried. I went into it worried that I went into it worried that it was gonna like do a load of shit to like retcon the first movie, which it does, but luckily the first movie still stands up by itself.
Yeah.
Like they basically just allude to a load of things to basically convince you that he is Maximus's son and not some random person's son. There's basically a 10-minute period in the movie where they just keep saying it to him. You're Maximus's son. I am not Maximus. You are Maximus's son. Like they just keep saying it to him, and it's like as if it's like if we say it enough times, guys, it'll be true. And honestly, Connie Nelson looks like she's not there for half the film. I know she's there, but like she's not there.
A bit harsh.
Like glazed over. Like it's so bad.
A bit harsh.
Denzel's great. I'll give him that.
What's his role in it? What's his deal?
Denzel is kind of like he's kind of like Oliver Reed's character in the first one.
Oh, the lovable slave owner.
But
except he's got
villain.
more ulterior motives.
Yeah. It's interesting. Like, yeah, I just saw a very different film to you.
Really?
Yeah, I just had like a really good time, and
I think
a lot of people resonated with the idea of accepting it for the silly camp house that it is. Like for me, it was House of Gucci. I mean, that's what it was. That's what it delivered, and I just had to separate myself from like.
Is it a muscle fest?
Yeah, but it wasn't about that. Like, it wasn't like an icon. I just had a really good time with the twins and with Denzel and like even Pedro Pascal. It was really.
You
good
had
time.
a good time with the twins.
Oh my god, they were ridiculous.
I thought they were dreadful. Oh my god, I thought they were so. I thought it was.
Yeah,
it was like Panto, Simon. And you're talking. This is someone who's been in Panto. I had better lines in Panto than they had in that.
This is exactly what I'm saying though. Like. I didn't take the film seriously. It's like a satire of Gladiator. Like,
yeah,
I
exactly.
don't know
you know what it's like? It's like you know when like a movie does really well, but they don't get a sequel, so they make a made-for-TV movie as a sequel.
No,
it doesn't
have the production value of a TV movie.
Well, of course it doesn't, but it has the story of a TV movie, though.
I don't know. I don't think that's fair. It's not that bad. It's not like it has 5 on IMDb. It has like 7.3 on IMDb.
I know.
Like,
yeah, that's too high.
Well, yeah.
Arguably, that's too high. It's a 6 at best.
I disagree. But okay. I think it's just a different. Like, I think it's depending on what kind of expectation you have.
Yeah, and listen, I went in the mindset of Gladiator 1.
Yeah.
But it's not like I guess if I'd gone in with a different idea of what it would be, and that it would be a bit more slapstick and a bit more farcical. And
I think people compare it with the first one, but how can you compare someone's art? And again, like we can talk about Ridley Scott's era right now. It's not the same person who was 25 years ago. He's a different artist. He's doing films like House of Gucci, like Napoleon, like Prometheus. Like he's in a different era, and like he's not for everyone. But I don't think I can expect him to do Alien and Gladiator anymore. For better or for worse.
Yeah, no, for sure. But then I guess pass the torch, you know.
Yeah, well, okay, but have a good time.
Yeah, but you can't. So there's the thing I thought about it was the best comparison I could give it was it's closer to 300 than it is the original Gladiator. If you were describing it as a film, it's closer to 300 than it is Gladiator.
Yeah.
Primarily because at the start of the film, when his wife dies, he is like hallucinating and it all goes black and white.
Oh my God.
And then he sees her getting onto a raft with Death.
Yeah. This
guy playing Death. Yeah. And then she goes off on the raft and crosses the river. It's it's so camp.
It's insane.
It's like
insane. It's so camp.
It's like straight out of like the Zack Snyder playbook of like, let's just be really literal here. She's getting on the boat with death, and it's like a big dude in a fucking cloak and shit. Like you may as well have had like a side.
Yeah.
It's so funny. It's like
ridiculous.
it's so in your face. It's almost
so in your
insulting to be like, guess we know she's dead. I just saw her get shot in the chest with an arrow and fall 50 feet. Of course she's fucking dead. Like, it's so funny.
I was just disappointed the Reaper didn't make a comeback.
I know. I know. I thought there was going to be something else. I thought every time someone in that movie died, we were going to see them being carried across the river. Pedro Pascal dies. He's carried across the river by death.
Spoilers. Yeah, massive spoilers.
Oh, come on. Who cares?
Okay, add the spoiler disclaimer somewhere, Simon, in the edit, because there was a lot of that.
Yeah, you can put spoiler over where I said the name of the person who dies.
Simon, you've been quiet. What have you been watching?
I'm just enjoying I'm enjoying the reviews.
The tete-a-tete.
Yeah, the tete-a-tete.
I have to say though, it doesn't make me want to go and see it.
No, don't. I mean,
I thought maybe like the way you were talking about it would make me like go, oh, actually, I really wonder which one I'm going to side with. But no, life's too short.
Oh, I have to say as well, I watched The Foreigner. That's a silly ass movie.
I mean, that's exactly.
And it has one of the most egregious jump cuts I've ever seen in my life, where it's edited so badly. So you know the bit where Jackie Chan goes to, even just describing this, Jackie Chan goes to Pierce Brosnan's office, doesn't get the answer he wants, so plants a bomb in the bathroom. There's a bit where, and I had to rewind and watch it again because I was like, there's no way that the editor has actually done that so badly. Jackie Chan's about 4 feet away from the stall door, and then it just cuts and he's like walking into the bathroom. Like the camera angle doesn't change. It's looking at him.
Oh, he just jumps forward.
Yeah, it just jumps forward. He jumps forward 4 feet in the space of a second. And I had to rewatch it and be like, hang on, there's no way you've missed that so glaringly obvious. Yeah. It's such a silly movie.
It's a silly movie. But that's the thing, like if you try to pretend that it's a serious film, you're gonna find so many holes. Like,
but weirdly, I feel like Jackie and Pierce are trying to be quite serious. You know?
Exactly.
That's what's funny about it.
Yeah, but somehow it just translates to an entirely different movie.
Yeah.
With them just trying
it's
to
wild.
be serious.
It's so funny.
It is wild. I love it. Always a good time.
Sorry, you were asking me if you've been watching anything.
Are you familiar with the artistic works of a gentleman known as Michael Bay?
Oh yes.
This is the type of entertainment we're looking for.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Well, flashing lights, sirens, women in bikinis on boats.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I watched 13 Hours. Have you guys seen
What
this?
do you mean? Oh.
Which one is 13 hours?
I thought you were gonna say I was 13 hours of Michael Bay.
Is this the one in is this the war one in like a
It's Libya. It's the Secret Soldiers of Benghazi. It's called. And
wait, I have seen. Is that with John Krasinski or something?
I was going to say. I think that is the John Krasinski one. Yeah, hang on.
It involves a number of generically bearded hunk
I have actually
patriots.
seen that.
I think it's Krasinski because I think I've seen the poster.
I think I've seen it fairly recently, actually, but I just erased it from memory.
Yeah.
Instantly.
Well,
John Krasinski, Pablo Schreiber.
Yeah.
It's
James Badgedale as Tyrone Rowan Woods. They've all got some great nicknames.
As Hunter Harris said, John Krasinski's an alive man.
They've got some like really.
He was he was voted for Sexiest Man Alive according to People magazine, and Hunter Harris went, John Krasinski's an alive man.
Right.
Okay, interesting.
Well, they're all kind of like clones of each other, and it's about an American diplomatic compound. It's like the last bit of America left in Libya as the countries, after the fall of Gaddafi, and the country's like disintegrated, and there's all these warring Islamist factions, and they see an opportunity of this vulnerable American diplomatic outpost, and decide to attack it. And it's just about the intro is hilarious. It's got, like you guys were describing earlier, the build up is redonkulous because obviously they have to do the what's the backstory of these patriotic hunks, and of course there's like dogs at home, video calls with twins, wife declaring they're pregnant, just to make sure we're really like connected with.
Does it do the thing that a lot of those films of that ilk kind of do, where it gives you the background with some white text on a title card, while into the background it goes,
oh yeah, there's a bit of Lisa Gerrard type wailing.
Every movie like that, it's like Black Hawk Down. It has the same thing.
You know what? It
like
had,
intros it in the same way.
It had that, and it had the little text printing on the screen to tell you, where they were. And it was the same font that was used in Enemy of the State, that Will Smith hacker film, which I actually really liked. But it, what was I going to say about it? Yeah, so it's making political points left, right, and centre. So when they realise they're going to get fucked over and the attack's coming, it's obvious that when they try and tell POTUS, and it's basically Hillary, crooked Hillary, that no help comes. Right. And it's like these hunky, sexy, strong men have to
defend
their way out of it. Yeah, and it's all about how they do that. And I really, really enjoyed it. It's really good. It's nice. I mean, there's some hilarious moments. Like there's a bit where there's a sort of secondary fight that happens when they've done quite well the first time, and the second time, the bad guys, as they're constantly referred to, it's just bad. We've got to get the bad guys. They start like firing mortars into the compound, and they're really like megally destructive. And this guy's arm comes off, and he's so manly. He like picks up part of his arm and like jams it back in. It's a bit like Terminator. And then like as the dust is settling in this scene, like a little burning corner of the photograph of his family like wafts down onto the floor of the dead guy. It's absolutely nuts.
I need to watch this film now. Where did you watch it? Where did you watch it on?
Prime, I think it was.
It's on Netflix. Right now. Yeah.
Nice. It kind of sounds like the storyline to Argo without all the action. Have you seen Argo?
No, I have seen that.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
Yeah, it's much more. It's much more intelligent.
Iran? Is that set in Iran? The Iranian embassy in America? Is it? Where they like get them out using the movie. I
quite liked Argo. Again.
Argo's great.
Argo's much more intelligent.
Yeah. I mean. Intellectual.
Yeah, I mean, this is very much like it's got the classic tropes
America.
Of the soldiers being super patriotic and together, and then some pansy ass bosses that from Yale that don't know their ass from their elbow, and they're telling them they got to go and help their friends.
Is there like a slow motion shot of men walking away from a helicopter? There has to be. There's always a slow motion shot of them like all in their gear, slightly sweaty, kitted out.
Actually, there is a scene where a private jet eventually brings some help from abroad, and there's a bit of that.
Yeah.
But it's essentially a case of them going, sticking it to the pansy ass bosses and making America great again.
You get the Pentagon on the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and there's this absolute shocking line at the end where they're leaving the compound and they're finally in this secure convoy to go back to the airport to be taken back to America, and they have a really cool little interpreter character. He's a local guy who's their friend, and he's like a really fun. They always have the fun kind of little guy who's not really supposed to be fighting, but he's like a bit helpful, and you kind of really don't want him to die because he's really nice. And like and they say, you can come back with us, we'll take you back to safety. And he's like, no, I'm gonna go back to my family. And so they basically turn right out the compound of the convoy, and he walks left with his shitty suitcase of all of his whole life is in the suitcase. And then one of the soldiers said like, your nation really needs to sort this out or something like that. It's just so cheesy.
Amazing.
So I would recommend it though. I really enjoyed it.
I've watched it and I've erased it from memory entirely.
Wow, you really didn't like it that much.
It's an example of a 1-star film. I fully enjoyed.
As in, I remember not hating it. Like I remember thinking, "Oh, this is well done." I
guess.
It
was well done.
But
okay, I'll check it out.
It won an Oscar for best sound
American.
mixing.
Really,
the sound is pretty good.
Interesting. Maybe I was saying to Sophie before you got here, Simon, I need to start working on my list of movies I'm going to watch over Christmas. So maybe I'll put 13 hours on that list.
It's like a very fun romp.
I love a romp.
And as long as you don't get offended by the nonsense politics in it, it's good.
Very easily watchable. For
sure.
It
is
nice,
highly watchable.
I don't even know if it's 2 hours. I think it's shorter.
Yeah, it's not even too long. Yeah, it's good.
Beautiful. That's why I'm not going to. I was saying to Sophie, that's why I'm not going to see Wicked, because it's 2 hours and 40 minutes long, and it just feels it's too long. It's too long.
Yeah.
I don't need that in my life right now.
I'm gonna report back. I don't. Yeah, I think I'm the only person on earth that hasn't seen the musical. So
I haven't seen it.
Oh, you haven't?
It's always made me go like, but I need to probably check it.
I've heard. I mean, even Ben.
Yeah, the stage show is amazing.
Is it?
Yeah, I'm hearing great things. But
yeah,
I think I'm gonna watch the movie. Yeah, let's do it. But I think I'm gonna watch the movie first.
It's another one of my cultural holes that I need to.
Let's absolutely do it.
Well, we watched the movie that I think has. It's unfair to say this. but has had like such a massive impact on pop culture as Mean Girls was on Sunday night,
Huh.
and we watched Mean Girls.
That's surely dated quite badly.
Yeah, but like in the same way, a lot of movies from that time, like how The Devil Wears Prada has like dated really poorly as well.
Yeah.
My fucking god, that film is so funny.
It is funny.
Oh my god! And do you know what the mad thing is? Is like it's insane that Lindsay Lohan did not become the next like incredible comedy actress, and that her career kind of just went in such a mad direction. Because
she's back though.
she's back. Yeah. She's done like lots of Christmas movies and stuff, hasn't she? She is. It is so funny. Like the whole thing is hilarious. There are so many lines in it that I'm like that. You're just like, oh, that's what that's from. Oh, that's what. Like it's the most easily quotable film in the English language.
Every character is such a dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah. Such a dumb.
It's just fantastic. Like I found myself like laughing every 5 minutes.
I've also read the Lindsay quote the other day who said, I auditioned for Parent Trap the very first time in my life, and I haven't auditioned since. What an icon.
Legend.
Oh man, Parent Trap, another amazing film.
I actually really like. It's a good hangover one. That
Parent Trap's fantastic.
That's
I
a
haven't
great
watched it
film.
in so long, but I need to
Such a
rewatch
great
it.
film. Yeah. I'm into her, comeback.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, why not?
Bring it back. Yeah.
Also, I want to check out the Married Gentleman, the Todd Michael Murray.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen. I've seen. There's a brilliant shot of it going around online of like there's like a scene of people ice skating in it, but they clearly haven't filmed it on an ice skating rink because you look in the background and it's people essentially on a white carpet pretending to ice skate. It's so
Wonderful.
funny.
What's that?
It's like a Netflix Christmas movie with what's he from? That guy is he from
One Tree Hill.
One Tree Hill?
Yeah.
That's the one. Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks hilarious.
It looks absolutely hilarious. Yeah. I'm into
And
it.
his name, what is his name? Chad Michael Murray.
Yeah.
The most American name. That's like, isn't it? What isn't? Like,
He
isn't
needs to
Chad Michaels the guy from like Talladega Nights or something like that? It's such like an
Michael
American name.
No, yeah.
Yeah, so
Just into
good.
it. Just into it.
Yeah.
But no, I think I have a proper watch list for December. Conclave's coming out with Ralph Fiennes, which is
Yeah, I saw
supposed
that
to
the
be
other day, yeah.
really good, and Stanley Tucci, so like a good duo.
And Jonathan Lithgow's in it as well, isn't he?
as well.
What's
yeah.
the Hugh Grant film?
I watched
Oh
that.
yeah,
Heretic.
The Heretic.
You've seen it?
Yeah,
That
I
looks
watched
really
it.
good.
It's really good.
I was like,
Yeah.
I might watch that.
A24,
It's really good.
isn't it?
A24. It's horror-y.
Yeah.
It gives like Split vibes. If you've seen Split with James
No.
McAvoy.
Yeah.
Okay.
It looked really good.
Do you know what? What's about?
No, I heard an interview with Hugh on Radio 4 Front Row the other night.
He's been hilarious in this interview tour. He's been so good. It's about those two Mormon missionaries who go into his house to try to convert him. He's like this reclusive, sort of grumpy man, but he's well, spoiler alert, a bit of a heretic, and
Is he playing a Brit?
much more.
Or is he
Yes.
American? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, he's much more dangerous than he lets into.
He's in a really cool period of his career where he's kind of just playing like assholes and bad guys, and it's really working for him.
Well, I when he did the whole phone hacking stuff, that made me like
Oh my God,
kind
yeah.
of switch onto him.
He went on his
like,
crusade,
and
yeah.
I want him to sort of come out well from that era.
That reminds me of I was saying so here. I was like, I don't really know what's coming out, but Nosferatu's out at Christmas, and I can't wait to see that. That's gonna be amazing.
Great. And also, I've heard great things, and I'm gonna try to catch in the cinemas. Juror Number 2 with Nicholas Hoult, the
I've
Clint
seen
Eastwood film.
posters for that everywhere. Yeah.
It's supposed to be this like very straightforward but really well done like courtroom drama.
Cool.
Toni Collette as well.
Oh,
It's
I'm
like,
well up for that.
Nice.
yeah. So it's
What's it called?
Juror Number 2.
In the cinema.
Yeah, right now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think it's just
One
out
day.
now.
but I
isn't
think
it?
it's
Yeah.
but last days. So
There's
yeah.
not been a time when there's. So I want to see the Hugh Grant one and that film. That's
there
like
you go.
two that I want to see
Yeah.
at the same time.
Yeah.
It's unheard
There
of.
you
Interesting.
go.
You could do a double bill.
Yeah.
I think you,
Science fiction double feature.
I think you may want to see Conclave as well. It does feel like something that you would like.
Yeah. Okay.
About priests, isn't it?
Yeah, Pope. Yeah.
Right up your street. Did I tell you I was at this? Is
it a pedo film?
Hopefully
I
not.
I hope not.
All
I was at a media
My God.
industry event a couple of weeks back in which
Ooh.
there was a silent auction.
Prestige.
Wait, he's going to drop a name.
No. I'm not going to drop a name. Right?
Drop it.
There was a silent auction, right? And the most expensive thing on the site, you know the way people like donate shit. The most expensive thing on it was a private audience with the Pope.
What?
And do you
Are
know
you
what the
serious?
starting bid was?
I don't know.
£12,000.
That's nothing.
starting bid, and it was like,
is the Pope in his glass box?
no. It was like you meet the Pope.
That is nothing.
It's like you'll meet the Pope. You'll get to kiss his hand, and then it's like, and then you'll go back into this other room, and they'll show you pictures of you meeting the Pope. So you're paying $12,000 to meet him for about 2 seconds while you kiss his ring, and then you go backstage. So
I have
was
a
like,
Go
feeling-
"That's
backstage and
hilarious."
they're wafting Polaroids
Yeah.
to get them to develop.
Yeah, like, you know, after a roller coaster, you can buy it on a key ring.
Exactly.
This is the perfect segue to There Will Be Blood, because
It's pretty good, yeah.
It's exactly how capitalism like eats up religion.
Yeah.
Like it's just a
Yeah.
perfect analogy.
This is where we need crossover with some There Will Be Blood music now.
Okay, can I just start with saying I have seen There Will Be Blood a couple of times, but when I was much younger, I did not remember how good the score was.
Same. Oh, the score.
The score.
I found it quite like
Eerie.
It's quite jarring.
hard work at the beginning,
Yeah.
and then it.
At the start as well, because it starts immediately
I
with
mean,
these
it's good.
like
It's good.
these
It's
big
very-
droning strings, like
Yeah, it's
really heavy.
It's Stanley Kubrick, like through and through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just unpleasant, really.
Very shining, like.
Yeah.
And it kind of goes along with the guys like just digging in their bare hands, getting covered in
Yeah.
oil, people
Amazing.
getting injured, dying. Like it captures that spirit, I think, really well.
Simon, was this your first viewing?
No, I'm the same as you. I saw it when I was about 20.
Okay, so did you remember it when, like, now in your second?
Not really. And also, like, because it's quite a complicated film in some ways,
Yeah.
especially with the twins. I actually did a bit of reading about it while I was watching, because I need to watch a film like 3 or 4 times to really get it.
The idea that there's Paul and Eli type
Yeah,
thing.
exactly. And it's I don't think I would have clocked that on my own, to be honest. But yeah, I found it an absolute treat to rewatch it. And I think actually I enjoyed it much more as a more older person than when I was 20.
Same.
I think because my friends were really into films, and they were like, "This is amazing," and I just didn't like it as much as them at the time, and now I do.
Well, it's
Now I get it.
because it's a hard watch, and like I think there's definitely like it's one of those movies that you kind of need a level of maturity almost to appreciate it, and cynicism maybe as well that you don't get when you're 20.
World awareness, like
Yeah.
I don't think I was able to grasp, like, again, the concepts of capitalism and evangelical priests, like back in my first watch. I was probably very young. I was probably
Which, I mean,
17
it came out in 2007, so I would have been what,
Yeah.
13 when it came out first.
It's an interesting trajectory arc, whatever, because initially you think that Paul is
the first one,
The
or the
first
second.
one who comes to Daniel in the beginning to tell him what it is.
Sorry, Daniel is this entrepreneur who's, trying to make his money, and you're kind of behind him initially.
Oh yeah.
And then it's kind of his descent into, like, I guess it's the capitalism that corrupts him.
I mean, but you do lose him pretty early on when he steals a child. Well, steals. Well, sort of.
Manipulate.
I didn't see this. I
manipulate,
didn't see it as stealing the child. I do. What you more.
I didn't
find
spot it as early as that.
as
Actually,
what you more find is hard is that he's using the child as like my business partner.
Yeah, but
because he says that later in the film, doesn't he?
Yeah, but I think that's obvious pretty early on. Even the way he looks at the child, you can see that there's no emotion. Like, it's not like, oh my god, let me take care of him.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of.
Oh yeah, he's an
it's kind
asset.
of-
Yeah, for sure.
because it presented him as a more trustworthy guy, didn't it?
Yeah.
But what I really appreciated about the first half an hour was, did you notice, like, there's quite a few like scenes of him meeting people,
Right.
but they don't show you who he's meeting, and it makes you really curious. Like, a lot of the time the camera was slightly the wrong way round, so you're like, and it makes you start wondering. And I think that's what that film does really well, is it doesn't spoon feed. You're like constantly like curious about what's going on.
Yeah.
And I thought that was done really well through the camera work and the setup and setting up of the shots.
Mm-hmm. And the entire film is is through his point of view entirely, if anything.
Yeah.
And I feel like even that framing is probably a way of the director to say he's just using pawns, right? And it doesn't matter who it is. Everyone is a pawn to him because he hates everyone. And he sees nothing but, asset management around him, really. That's pretty much it.
But also with just the whole kind of film is that it's kind of hard to say, because it's one of those ones where you kind of struggled to side with anyone. It's kind of one of those movies where it's like, I just have to watch this and not think I'm going to side with someone, because actually there's no real moral to the story other than greed corrupts everyone.
Oh,
it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what faith you have.
You do end up siding with the son, though. I find. I think he's the moral character.
But I think
But
I guess his is the most kind of sympathetic storyline in it.
For sure.
And like, you know, it's, as someone who's been used his entire life, you know, it is quite a sympathetic one. But you don't really get that much of him, like, you know, like the son, because even in the scenes that he's in earlier in the film, he doesn't have a lot of dialogue. Even before he's like goes deaf, he didn't have that.
Yeah, I think you got a lot of redemption in the end. But
the redemption in the end, and actually that scene, the scene at the end where he's telling him he's going away, or towards the end where he's telling him he's going away to Mexico, and where he wants him to talk to him and not sign to him. That's a really rough watch. That's a really fucking shitty 10 minutes. That's really hard to watch.
The bit I found the hardest to watch was when he sends him off to that school
where he just gets off the train.
Oh my god!
And so he's sitting on the train next to his son, and his son thinks, "Oh, I'm being taken by my dad somewhere."
Yeah.
And then just before the train begins to pull off, the dad just gets up, jumps on the train, and it pulls off, and the son just runs up to the window.
Yeah.
And the dad doesn't even look back.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
But he's a burden at that point, right? He's shedding him. He's sending him off, but he's still useful to have from an image perspective, you know?
Mm-hmm. It's hard to think of, I mean, it's amazing what the PTA has achieved with Daniel, and I'm guessing DDL as well, in terms of how he didn't come across as a caricature, even though it was very easy for Plainview to come across as one, because to your point, there's nothing likable about him. And even though both him and even Paul Dano's character, you can argue, Eli gets that version.
I hated Eli.
What?
Hated him so much.
Same. Almost more than Plainview, which is insane.
And I think, do you know what?
But I think I also have an aversion to religion, which doesn't help.
So that's what I was going to say. The whole time watching it, I kept thinking to myself, how would I feel about this film if I had a different relationship with religion? Yeah. And I don't think that means you have to be a crazy evangelical like Eli is in the film. But even I'm someone who's incredibly cynical of religion. So when I see that, and because you see that in modern culture of religion being used to exploit people in that way, and these figures who use religion in that way, and they big it up and they whip people into a frenzy, you could set that film in the 70s and make it not about oil, and you could still have that character and he would still resonate the same. But I wonder if, if you're a religious person, do you view that differently and actually have a lot more, maybe not sympathy,
I think you could, one prism through which you can look at that film is the idea of religion being subsumed by capitalism. So it's it's the end of Eli's reign, and it's
which is exactly the final
capitalism's
scene.
turn now to take over.
Yeah.
Should we jump to the final scene? Does anyone want to sum it up for us, and we can go through
before you do that?
Oh yeah.
Did you think he sounds like Sean Connery?
A little bit.
I kept looking away from the screen. I was like, Sean Connery.
Yeah. He has a little bit of that. Yeah, for sure.
Maybe a bit of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good one. Well, I don't think that was in his research notes, but
Probably not. Yeah, probably not. I actually think it's obviously I respect Daniel Day-Lewis's career. And obviously he's won a lot of Oscars, including There Will Be Blood. I think that's his best performance. I think it's better than Lincoln, better than In the Name of the Father, better than My Left Foot, all that kind of stuff. He's amazing in it.
Speaking of, at the beginning you said it reminded you of how little US history that you know. It made me really think about what a huge amount of change happened between 1900 and 1930.
Oh my god, yeah.
Absolute exponential curve of of capitalist development. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
They went from basically living in dust to suddenly pumping out oil and printing money, essentially, a lot of these people. And all these jobs being created and technology being developed. Yeah. Absolutely insane.
It's when the machines took over, exponential growth. Yeah. Industrial revolution. Ben, would you like to do us the honors and sum up the final scene for us? So the ending, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus Christ, the ending is that final that final scene is fucking crazy. And actually, I came away thinking of it really wanting to know what happens next. And actually, I think I know what happens next, and I'll talk about that in a second. But essentially, Eli, not Paul, very important, comes to Daniel in his Hollywood or California mansion or whatever it is. Daniel is
He's in a bowling alley, isn't he?
Well, he has a bowling alley in his house.
We'll get to that.
And we find him asleep, drunk on the floor of his bowling alley in his house because his son's left. He's gone to Mexico. He's married the girl from the original farm. They've gone to Mexico together. Because he wants to start up his own thing. And Daniel has this awful reaction to him where he says, you know,
you'll be a competitor.
His whole thing, he doesn't see him as his son. He sees him as, okay, you're going to be competition, even though he's going to Mexico. And, you know, finally breaks it to him that he's not his son. He's an orphan. He says he's worse than a bastard. You're the lowest of the lowest. This awful scene. And like his life is just like complete, even though he has everything he wanted, his life is completely spiraling.
Why does he do that?
I don't know.
That scene.
But I think it's like,
what do you mean?
Why does he need to abuse his son like that in that scene?
I think paranoia and alcohol have just
he's not his son, he's adopted
and
son.
greed.
It's that, but I think earlier in the film he admits that he hates most people and he revels in it. I think he used hatred as a way of
he says that to the guy who comes claiming to be his brother,
Henry.
doesn't he? He's like all I do. He's like my best quality is that all I do is I see the worst in people.
Yeah, I think he revels. I think he sees it as
a badge of
entertainment.
honor.
Yeah. So he's just loving it.
Yeah, he doesn't see good qualities in anyone. He just sees the worst of them, and that's what makes. I guess that's what makes him successful. Right?
Yeah,
like that's what
the
makes
irony.
him the successful businessman that he is.
Yeah.
But essentially, Eli comes back to him now. He's back from the missions, having gone to preach the good word, and is looking for more money. He's basically essentially coming to him and saying, this land, the Bandy land that he had built the pipeline on initially, that this old man Bandy is the one he needs to basically run his pipeline across the land. And Eli comes to him and says, listen, you can mine this whole, you can dig for oil all you want there, and like just give me he wants something he wants like $100,000. Well, yeah, but in that time though, I mean, $100,000 then compared to now is millions and millions when you think about it.
For their situation, it's not a big deal for him to sign
no, not for him. I mean, it wouldn't be. But I guess the climax of it all is that he says, "Yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it for you. I'll come and I'll drill for you. You just have to denounce religion." And it's the whole crux of the film about greed taking over, because it's such a quick switch that Eli goes from preaching the good word to then and immediately denouncing religion for the money, because he needs the money.
I mean, are you saying he's really denouncing it, or he's just saying what he has to say to get him to?
I don't think
he's really denouncing.
No, I don't think he's really denouncing it, but I think it doesn't matter, because he's built himself on such principles that he has built himself up that he would never say that. The man who was slapping Daniel around the face, telling him to abandon his child, that's the worst thing he could have gotten him to say at that point. And now Daniel's getting him to do the worst. But the crux of it all is that he's already got all the oil from that piece of land. And all he wants to do is he wants to lower him to that lowest piece, and he's explaining it to him. And then essentially we just end in a scene where he's chasing him around the room, and then Daniel beats him to death with a bowling pin.
Wonderful.
Which actually, and then he turned the last. I guess the final scene is this: Butler comes down and calls his name, and he just turns to him, and he says, "I'm finished now," or something like that.
Yeah, I'm finished.
Smiling at him.
So why doesn't the butler react?
Well, because
the butler doesn't do anything.
Because that was going to be my point. Is like, well, what happens next? And I was like, I'll tell you exactly what happens next. He is a wealthy oil millionaire in America in the 1930s. Nobody ever sees or speaks about Eli ever again, and he just goes about his merry way. That butler doesn't say anything. Nothing happens to Daniel. He keeps drilling for oil. That is all that happens in that scenario. Yeah.
And something tells me that's not the first murder that this butler has witnessed.
Yeah, but it's not. It's also not the first person we already know that Daniel's killed.
Oh yeah, for sure. But I think the butler is like, not surprised.
He's like, I've seen this before. You're the third. So you're the third billionaire I've seen kill someone this week.
Yeah.
I think he's so powerful. He knows that he doesn't have to worry. He's like, it doesn't matter. I also think it's
there probably wasn't. I just think to think about that point. There probably wasn't even the law and order and the court system. It was basically the Wild West, wasn't it? Like you could do.
It's the ending of the Wild West, I guess. That time, kind of the turn of the century around then is kind of the end of what's known as that kind of cowboy era. But still, with that amount of money and power,
it's like all of the public services were beginning to form then, weren't they? But it still was probably quite, especially out of the big cities. Yeah, you could probably get away with doing. I
think the thing is like that last 30 minutes when we jump forward to him living in that big mansion on his own is essentially just like a very quick spiral into insanity and like mania and madness. I think he just takes over from him, because I actually think my main thought about it is I think deep down, Daniel at the start of the film, Daniel at the end of the film is the same person.
Oh yeah, he
But
was
I
always
think-
the monster that
But I think Daniel at the start of the film does not need to kill Eli because he's already lowered him to his level. Because he's done the worst thing that he could make Eli ever do, is make him denounce his religion and then tell him it doesn't fucking matter. I'm going to let you go bankrupt and I'm going to let people come after you for the money. He doesn't need to kill him then. He's done the worst thing he can possibly have done to him.
I thought the opposite. In my head, I was thinking, I knew the moment he was gonna, the moment he saw him, he was gonna kill him. So why, ridicule him? Like, why go through that extra step? Because I do feel like it wasn't an impulsive decision. I think the moment Eli stepped into that bowling alley, he was a dead man.
Yeah, well, no, I don't know. I don't even think so.
But I also get your point. Like, his way of getting revenge is to just
because
do what
he's
he
been
did.
embarrassed, right?
Because
like
he's been
earlier in the film,
embarrassed.
he's been embarrassed by him on a couple of occasions as well.
Yeah.
Like, and it's this kind of this cold war between the two of them for the entire film, of like back and forth. And Daniel gets the final victory.
I actually thought that Plainview got a lot worse through the film. I kind of saw it was his decline through the years, and through the business deals and shenanigans he got up to. That his character and his moral compass got
Decline
more wayward.
of character and ascension of capitalism historically, because also we need to think of the final scene, the historical context, where 1927 Great Depression is about to begin, and that's where like religion is at its lowest as well. But it's interesting because I was leading up to to our episode, I was doing some research, and the bowling alley came up because it wasn't a random. Obviously, the choice of the bowling alley was quite intentional. It turns out the mansion that we see Plainview in is called Greystone Mansion, and it's by Edward Doheny, who's actually one of the inspirations of the film. And apparently,
For Daniel.
Yeah. And apparently that guy did literally have a bowling alley, and PTA says, this is exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
This is the equivalent of like a playroom that's like, you just have it there, you never use it. And I had to have this final scene there because it just shows the excess of
Well,
money.
it's like it's a status thing for him, right? Like he has all these
Yes.
amazing things in the mansion, but all he essentially does is blow them up and because that scene where he's like shooting things in the mansion, he's like shooting he's shooting things because it's like he doesn't need it, but it's imagery, right? Like like he constantly, like, it's when you think about it, it's so important how those was the men from like Union Oil, or not the other company, was whatever they're called, State Oil or something, whatever they're called, Oil Standard, whatever, how they view him. The ones who insult him about his son and tell him how he should be raising his son. That, like, it's so important, that scene where he makes the kind of scene in the restaurant when he brings
That's
him
my
for
most
lunch.
memorable scene from the whole film.
It's a great
actually.
scene, yeah. Like
It's
so
where you really see him as a bully.
well, but also you see how important it is to him that he ordered his drinks first. So why didn't I get my drinks first? Because these men are seen of as more important than I am, and so it's constantly like a status thing of.
And then he rips the piss out of them for underestimating how he could build his pipeline. Because
He gets him to say, what is it? He tries to get him to say,
to
like,
admit.
admit that you're a moron or something like that. And again, he does it like it's like he's constantly humiliating people, like and like he wants people to like
belittled them.
He belittles everyone, which is wild.
Well, speaking of belittlement, I want to talk about the milkshake line for a bit, because
brings all the boys to the yard.
Yeah, I mean, there's that.
Brings all the boys to the bowling alley.
But what do you think was so perfect about this metaphor? Like, I drink your milkshake. Like, what do you think it signifies? And in the context of I want to call it the speech, whatever he was doing to Eli. I drink your milkshake. Drainage. He was like, because it's both lead.
I actually don't remember this scene at all.
What do you mean?
Well,
Can you
that's
remind me of it?
it's how he explains to him how he got the oil.
I drink your
Is
milkshake.
that he's like if I'm sitting across from you and my straw stretches all the way across into your milkshake, and then I drink your milkshake and then I drink mine. It's how he explains the drainage, as he calls it, with oil, because he's been
All
drilling
these middlemen.
He's been drilling all around that land.
Yep.
That oil is already the what is it?
Drainage.
Drainage. Screaming at him, drainage. Yeah.
So I have some interesting backstory about that. Apparently, the speech is based on actual congressional testimony about oil drainage. I drink your milkshake comes from Senator Albert Folt's explanation during the Teapot Dome scandal. Don't ask me what that is. The straw metaphor was commonly used in early 20th century oil disputes. So apparently it's a thing. Like milkshake. Okay, that's cool. Like I drink your milkshake, you drink mine.
Yeah.
So it's both literal and I guess metaphorical because capitalism drinks religion in an interesting way. I have another question here. I mean, we briefly talked about this, but maybe we can get into it a bit more. Why does Daniel force Eli to renounce his faith?
Because it's the worst thing he could get. It's the most humiliating thing he could make him do. Because Daniel makes Daniel admit to the most humiliating thing he could ever do to get that land in the first place. So now, if you essentially saying, if you want it back and if you want me to help you, you have to do what you did to me, and shout to the heavens that well, it's not that he denounces religion, and that he calls himself a false prophet. That he admits that he doesn't have the power to heal, because there's that scene where he supposedly heals that woman of arthritis and all that kind of stuff.
So you're saying it's payback for when Eli humiliated him in the church?
I think so. I think it's payback for a lot of things. I think the relationship from the beginning is like incredibly tense, and Daniel feels like he's being kind of, he has no value for religion. It doesn't play any part for him, but obviously this is kind of being thrown in his face, and Eli's attitude is that it's like a game of cat and mouse with both of them. Is they're kind of both trying to get the most out of one another, because Eli at the end of the day is as greedy as Daniel. He just does it in a different way. He utilizes religion instead of money to have power over people.
Absolutely, which is why I think I'm a false prophet, I denounce my faith, whatever he told him to do is the part of the revenge. But also he kept telling him, say, I'm the third revelation, which in my head it was him trying to get him to admit that I'm the third revelation, as in the money. Like, just admit it. Just admit that you're in it for the money as much as I am, and like stop it with the bullshit behind like evangelical. Because
that's why I think killing him obviously is that kind of final descent into madness. But actually, I think he doesn't need to kill him, because he's already, the fact that he makes him do this and then tells him, well, I got you to do that out of greed, and guess what? I'm not giving you any money. I'm going to leave you be, and I'm going to let you, you're going to, because he's in debt, because that's the whole thing, right? He's in debt. Like, Eli is in massive debt, and that's why he's coming to him looking for this money.
Yeah.
And so, Eli's getting his legs broken by a debt collector no matter what happens, right?
Yeah, for sure. Well, the reason I thought the intention was to kill him all along is because the final line, as you said, is I'm finished, which happens right after he kills him.
Yeah.
And at first, when I saw it, like knowing DDL, I thought it was improvised. As in, he probably just, like, DDL just said that out of nowhere, like, just finish the film.
Yeah.
But it turns out it was in the script. So the PTA wanted to end the film with the murder of Eli. So I wonder what that line means, like, I'm finished. Like, why did it need to end there? And what Daniel wanted to say with, what does it mean by finished? Like, does that mean that that's it, I'm done with the revenge? Does that mean, well, I've gone full on mental now? What does I'm finished mean? Or is it just like, I'm finished as in the film is done, like you can go home now?
It could be a little bit of both, really. I mean, I think he
just finished having his tantrum. He's just like
I think he's just gone I think he's just gone mad. Like, he's just gone insane.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he wasn't really thinking that deeply, I don't think, at that point. Yeah, it's like telling his butler he'd finished his killing.
His meal.
That's it, because he's eating his dinner, isn't he? He's eating food when he's like his butler's left a plate of food beside him.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Yeah. I mean, in a weird way, I don't think he's gone any more mental in that scene, because to your point, like, we saw how he's already killed people, at least one, probably a lot more.
Yeah. Well, and there's not even just him killing people. There's a lot of deaths on his hands, because I guess you look at the oil industry and the amount of people that just die around, like death follows him around, even if he doesn't like it. Like,
For sure. But it does feel like he has something particularly vendetta-like with Eli because of the humiliation scene in the church.
Yeah. Well, he's the only person who's been he's the only person in the entire film who's ever been able to get one over on him in a way. Yeah. Everybody else is subservient to him. He's proved everybody else wrong except for him. And so now this is this kind of final final thing, I guess. I don't
Yeah.
know. And maybe he feels like it's like, you know, almost like the only way I can ever have some silence and peace in my life is just to kill him, just get rid of him.
Yeah.
Because he'll always be there. He'll always come back. He'll always, as long as he's alive, there will always be the memory of him humiliating me, and I just can't have that. Like,
Yeah.
I cannot, that just can't stand.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think we saw the ending. Any parting thoughts about There Will Be Blood? Any like most chilling line delivery? You mentioned your favorite scene.
I like it when the son won't hug him back.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa.
I think that the scene
After he gets his son back from the school,
Yeah.
the deaf school.
the scene where the drilling station catches fire and is burning into the night
Man, yeah.
is one of the most striking
Yeah.
shots you'll ever see. And also, actually, what's brilliant about that scene in general is how much joy he takes in it. Because there's him and Kieran Hines' character, and Kieran Hines is like, the fucking fire is huge, like, what do we do, blah blah blah. And Daniel can only laugh and say, this is brilliant. If this thing is burning to the ground, it means there's fucking shitloads.
He's
of
kind of
oil
what
in
you
here.
want in a boss.
Yeah, he
In
is.
a
Yeah.
leader.
But he's a
actually,
visionary. He is a visionary, though.
Yeah.
Like, he sees things that other people, he sees things that they don't see. And, like, you have to admit, even the whole thing about him having his son when he's going to talk to all these groups of different people at the beginning, he's it's kind of something you'd see in Succession, right?
Yeah.
You can imagine in
or
like,
the Aviator or something.
Yeah.
These industry
like, you can
innovators.
imagine in Succession, like, him using, Brian Cox's character using...
Yeah, he's a Rupert Murdoch. For
Yeah,
sure.
like bringing his son to meetings as the young heir. This is, I work with my son and this is the heir to my fortune to get deals over the line.
One of my favourite scenes in the film, or shots, is just before the big fire, and you see him asleep on the floor of the cabin thing. Like, and one of his workers wakes him up to tell him the news that someone's been killed. And the way he sleeps is like his cheek is literally on the wood, and he's just dribbling on the wooden floor. That's his bed. He doesn't even sleep in a bed.
Yeah.
He's like
Yeah.
Elon Musk. He's literally sleeping
He's
on the
literally
floor in his
Elon
clothes on a like dusty,
Yeah.
shitty wooden floor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's
Like,
ready
not
to
even
go.
a pillow.
He's literally
Amazing.
Elon Musk. Yeah.
He's like living like an animal.
And I think props to Paul Dano as well. I think obviously we've talked a lot about Daniel Day-Lewis, but Dano's performance in it is great. Like, it's really good. I mean, I think if it hadn't been the year of No Country for Old Men, he probably wins Best Supporting Actor as well.
He was not even nominated.
He was-
which
no,
I
he was nominated, wasn't he?
He wasn't. I found, which is
Oh, I thought
shocking.
he was nominated. Yeah.
It's
It's
either
shocking.
the year
It
before.
was a strong year though. It was
Yeah.
Assassination of Jesse James, Michael Clayton, No Country
Yeah,
for
well,
Old
because
Men.
Daniel Day-Lewis he won. Did There Will Be Blood win Best Picture?
No,
It won 2 Oscars, didn't it?
cinematography. I think
Cinematography.
won.
I mean,
Yeah.
cinematography makes sense. It's like,
Oh my god,
it looks insane. Like, it's
Insane.
beautiful. Like, that's what I mean about
so
that shot about the
unique
big
as
burning
well.
thing.
Like I love the high contrast in a lot of scenes.
Yeah.
And either the year before or the year after was Little Miss Sunshine, which was
I think it was
the
the year
first
before.
time I saw Paul Dano
Oh,
do a really
right.
good
Yeah.
job.
Well, he barely. I don't know if he. So
Maybe 2 years
apparently,
before.
so the plan wasn't for the brothers to be twins. Dana was actually supposed to just do Paul, but the guy who was doing Eli, and I'm not sure the identity of the actor is revealed anywhere or is anyone online. He dropped out 4 days before filming. Rumors say because the deal was very intense, and he was like, "Fuck this, I'm out."
Yeah.
And Dana had 4 days to prepare for the Eli role,
Wow.
which is fascinating.
That's insane.
But and yeah,
I think
love
I
stories
think
like
it's
that.
I think it, I do you know what I think it'd be a lesser film if it was 2 different actors playing
I think
them,
so. I
because
think
I
it really
actually
works.
think what's a really interesting mystery about the film is that up until the end you're thinking to yourself, hang on, are Paul and Eli the same
Exactly.
person?
Yeah,
Like,
That's what I thought.
and
yeah.
actually, like, there's a real mystery to it until the end where he says Paul's off living somewhere else. He's fucking started his own oil
Yeah.
company with the money I gave. Like, I paid him $10,000 immediately. He started his own oil company. You know, because actually that's the weird thing about it, because it's never really made clear. You're kind of like, hang on, is Paul Eli, like,
Yeah.
do they know one another? Are they just kind of playing this like weird dance with one another where it's like pretending not to, like, it's really weird, and it kind of adds this other layer of tension, you know?
Definitely.
And I have to say, like, there is a bit of a discourse online. Some people didn't actually notice there were different people. Which, again, like, it's not super explicit. Like, they say the name Paul once, and then if you miss
Yeah.
that scene where he reintroduced himself, You don't
Yeah.
quite get it, and there's like this Reddit discourse. We're like, wait, I just saw the Hoopy
But
Blood
he
for
says
third
it at the
time.
end. But he says it at the end though. Daniel Day-Lewis is quite explicit about it.
until
Until the end.
until the end.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you just kind of.
I'd be
don't
interested to
realize.
watch it again and look at them side by side to see if there's any like other differences that like Paul Dano's trying to do with it. But it's I guess you see so little of Paul, it'd be hard to know because it's just
Yeah.
one scene.
Yeah, exactly.
But you're right, it does add a little extra layer of
Yeah.
mystery to the whole
Yeah.
thing.
He's slightly less creepy, I guess. But I
Yeah.
mean, there's different levels of
Well,
creepy with Paul.
where you can see where he got the Riddler from.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
And actually, it's funny. I think people maybe sleep on Paul Dano a little bit, but he's actually
Yeah.
he's a really good character actor, like really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
And I think because he's not like your traditional like leading man, and a lot of the roles he's known for, like Little Miss Sunshine, There Will Be Blood and stuff, he's the supporting actor.
Supporting
actually-
and also either the villain or the
Yeah,
what's the word, misunderstood card, and these characters don't get recognition at the Oscars.
Yeah.
Like yeah.
but
very
actually,
hard.
like I think, as I say, I think it'd be the two of them together as a pair, him and Daniel Day-Lewis, like work really well because you can like. I don't know what Paul Dano's process is as an actor. Everybody, kind of Daniel Day-Lewis has like talked about quite a lot about his method acting and stuff. I don't know what Paul Dano's is, but like you can kind of tell how like they're warring but warring together, if you know what I mean. Like there's the really good like on-screen chemistry there, which I'd say was really hard to develop. Which
Oh my
why you can
God.
understand why somebody who would have been playing Eli, if they weren't on the same page, would be very hard to be like to play that character next to him when it's such an intense relationship.
Yeah, and he's
What
also
was-
method acting through and through.
Yeah.
When that film was made, was Daniel Day-Lewis super famous?
Oh yeah.
yeah.
He
It
was
must
on
have
his
been-
way to his second Oscar.
Yeah,
It must
this
have been a
was
big
his second,
deal
yeah.
for Paul then to...
Oh,
for sure,
100%.
Because it must have been one
Yeah.
of his early
100%.
films.
Yeah, 100%, yeah.
Yeah, I think you either dissociate and just like, this isn't happening.
Yeah. Well, I don't even think you do that. I'd say someone like him, I think what you have to, I'd say with Daniel Day-Lewis, the best thing you can do is probably take him on head on.
Yeah.
I'd say there's probably, like a mutual respect there of like, if he's method acting and he slaps you in a scene, will you fucking slap him back? Like that scene where he's
I would feel so bad at the church.
where he's
I would
slapping
feel
him.
so bad if I were him. Like, oh my God, I'm going to have to slap DDL now. Like, I would feel so
But
bad.
I actually don't. I would say the only way to do it is not. You can't feel bad about it.
Yeah, because Daniel's like, let's
I'd-
fucking go.
And the chemistry that they have there is probably because the both of them have gone right. Let's
Right.
fucking go. Like this is it. Like I fucking hate you. You hate me. This is going to be a nasty fucking 6 months of a shoot, but like this is going to be so worth it in the end. And after the film, we'll meet at the premiere and we'll be best mates. And it won't it'll be like nothing ever happened. Just thank your God you're not my deaf son.
Yeah.
Because I am going to treat him like shit.
Absolutely insane. Yeah.
Or my weird brother, not brother, who I'm
Yeah.
going to blow his brains out.
Yeah, so I was so shocked that Paul wasn't nominated that I actually went back to check out Daniel's acceptance speech at the Oscars, and he did give him like a proper,
Okay, good.
like
Nice.
shout out.
I need to
He
go back and
deserved
watch that, yeah.
But yeah,
Because he's on
weird
3
mix.
now, right? He's got
Yeah, that was the second one, and then he got Lincoln.
Link.
He-
What's is the first one?
In the Name of the
In the
Father.
Name of the Father. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Good
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, good stuff. Actually, I wanted to go. What's that? Right
In the Name
after.
of the Father.
Yeah,
I need to go and watch it. Yeah.
I have seen it once, and I remember really loving it. But obviously, like, there's a lot of subtext
Yeah.
that I'm probably not fully getting. So I would love to do some, deep dive.
And he's coming back, right? He's isn't he funding or producing
Ronan.
his son's new film?
Yeah, excited.
So yeah,
This would be fun.
it's gonna be good.
Okay, amazing. So next episode, we're back with our community segment. Ben had this really good idea of like best and worst movie adaptations.
Yes.
But also you mentioned potentially a Christmas quiz.
I think it's Christmas.
or-
Let's do a quiz. Let's just have a bit of fun. Let's just do
Yeah.
it. Why not? And then people can play along with the questions we ask one another.
Is there a brief around? Like, is it just general movie, general movie knowledge, or
we should quiz each other.
I think we
Like-
quiz
So-
each other. We each
We
maybe
each
do
pick
a
a
round.
film,
Yeah.
and then we pick a film that we think we're really knowledgeable about,
so
and the other
mastermind?
person has to prepare some questions to
Okay.
catch us up.
How deep are we going? Are you going to be going on like scores and scripts and stuff, or is it just going to be about the like plot, character
I
kind
think
of thing?
just do it like Mastermind.
Okay.
Just open.
Okay.
Yeah. So, okay, do we tell the audience the films beforehand? Do they prepare? Like, how do
Yeah.
we?
I
Like,
don't know.
Well, we haven't picked our films yet, though.
I know. Well,
This is also rushed.
They can be from our desert island. Top 3.
Yeah, we can pick something.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool. We'll see you in a couple of weeks for our pre-Christmas episode. Yeah, last episode of the year, probably.
What, already?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Because if we record in 2 weeks' time, then the week after that is Christmas.
That's crazy.
Shit. I think, if my
god.
timings are correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'll be back in Ireland by that point, so I'll be recording virtually if we are recording. But yeah.
On the sat phone.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm shocked. Sorry, I hadn't realized. I thought we had at least a couple.
I know.
Okay, I'm gonna make sure to watch Wicked before then.
Okay.
Okay.
We await your debrief.
Await your debrief. Okay, then we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Final episode of the year. Say farewell to 2024.
Yeah.
Crazy times. Goodbye.
Bye.
See ya.
Did you like it? Did you like that?
Did I like it? I loved it.
I had no idea you could milk a cat.
I have nipples, Greg. Could you milk me?
Good morning.
Morning. Good morning.
Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.